what's going on, sports fans? So, I want to give you newbies a few tips if you're checking into this channel. Number one, unless you already own your vehicle, don't go renting one. Don't go buying a new one. Okay? This industry is not stable. And it will not be stable because, let's face it, there are lawsuits left and right. We've got a couple going on right now against Uber and Lyft, so don't consider this your full time. Number two, don't put everything into it. Now, what you got to do is definitely accommodate, because you can make some good cheddar, but don't put your all into it. This is a hold me over, meaning it's a transition. You should be going from one job to the next. Now, if you want to look through some of the older videos, or if you want to stay tuned for future videos, I will let you know exactly what you need to do to earn that $35 to $40 an hour. Now keep in mind, your take home is probably going to be $30 to $35 an hour. Reason being, you're adding in tips, but you're taking away gas and wear and tear on your vehicle. By the time you're done, it should be a little bit less than $30 an hour. But at the same time, you can write off a lot of that to your taxes, which nobody's talking about. Now, I'm going to create a step-by-step tutorial of how to file your taxes. I'm not sure if I'm going to use TurboTax or if I'm going to use H&R Block, but I'm going to be using one of those softwares and just taking you through. And I'll attach the link to a video. So all you have to do is just click the link, and you will get the actual step-by-step interactive training. Because I have a background in creating trainings. But don't make this your number one at all, and don't commit yourself to a vehicle unless you plan on keeping that vehicle afterward. Because what's going to happen is you're going to add a lot of miles to your vehicle. I was driving 8 to 10 hours a day, and I was making really, really good money. I was bringing in about $4,500 a month or so. And I mean, that was decent. That's better than these average jobs out here. Only time I ever made that before this was when I was working for private clients over in Chicago. But if your car breaks, if you get a broken window, if anything goes wrong with your vehicle, you have to pay for it before you continue. So keep that in mind. You're going to be setting some money aside in case. This is your in case shit money. Number three, don't trust Uber, do not trust Lyft. They have hype people, okay? But to give you some insight, in Seattle there's a company called Drive Forward. They don't do jack. Why? Because they were created by a third-party company affiliated with Uber and Uber themselves. Okay? It's essentially a false flag company. I mean, it's a PR thing. Honestly, if I were advising them in a marketing capacity, that's probably what I would have advised them in. But at the same time, it's also dishonest. So don't expect Uber and Lyft to help you. Okay? You're basically, like, let's say you get some... One thing Lyft is known for is if somebody says, "Oh, he was driving drunk," or "he was intoxicated," Lyft isn't going to do anything. They're just going to shut you off. I personally got lucky, and the person lied about passenger door damaged, visibly damaged, unsafe. Okay, they should have been more creative, and they could have gotten me kicked off the platform. But riders know, at least a good percentage of riders know, they can lie about you to Lyft, and if it's something like inebriation, like being drunk or high or whatnot, Lyft ain't going to do nothing but deactivate you. And then you're going to stay deactivated. And you're going to have to get a lawyer to get reactivated. So be prepared for that. And one thing Uber and Lyft did with me, I've never lived in California. I first registered with both of them in Arizona, then I moved to Washington State. But for some reason, they ran a background check in California, and then they found out, hey, he doesn't have an address or a driving history or a driver's license in California, so we're gonna deactivate him. That's exactly what they did. Okay, and that's part of the reason we're taking them to court right now. I've got a good lawyer working on it. But yeah, they will not take responsibility for that. And they will not activate you quickly. Okay? With Lyft, with that door thing, I sent them 2 photos, then the next day 2 photos. Then 4 days in, 2 more photos. And then I actually visited the hub, and finally somebody was saying, well, I don't know why it's not working, but we'll get you reactivated. It still took 2 more days. And with Uber, I was deactivated for a week because of their faulty background in California, in which I've never lived. So keep in mind, they're going to make mistakes because they are tech companies, which means they view every driver as a number. And the front-end people, they're just hype people that have absolutely no technical skills whatsoever. And I don't say that lightly, I mean that seriously. They do not have technical skills except for what Uber tells them to say. Okay? They're like telemarketers. They just read from a script and hope you... Well, I can't really do anything else. Is there a supervisor? No, there's not. But, I mean, you can always email us and eventually somebody will eventually get to you eventually somehow, some way. That's exactly how it's going to roll. And if you think I'm lying, go ahead and drive for these people. You'll see. It'll eventually happen if you drive enough. Now, Uber does not keep you deactivated if somebody says, hey, let's driving drunk. But they will deactivate you for a time, and then you're going to have to go through some hoops to get reactivated. That's just a fact. Now, will this happen immediately? No. But it's a numbers game. What does that mean? That means if you drive enough and gain enough numbers, you're eventually going to run into a bad apple. And that is how life works. Okay? I mean, don't get me wrong. Most of your passengers, they're going to look down on you. That's number 4. Your passengers will look down on you. Okay? A vast majority. And if you pick up in the high-end neighborhoods, these are hoity-toity people, especially the freaking... Like, the one that makes the money, cool. But the one that marries the money, they're assholes. Okay? There's a difference between old money and new money. The people that marry into money, they're new money. They don't know how to handle it. They get all, well, I'm better than you. No, the fuck you're not. All that's around you. In every capacity of life. But that's just, people are going to look down on you. They're going to treat you poorly. Some are going to be super nice. Some are not going to be. Okay? That's just how you got to roll it. And number 5, you will be hit on. Now, don't get me wrong, when you're hit on, I mean, we can all dissuade somebody, but people are going to hit on you. And if you ever take their number, and if they ever report you're taking their number, then guess what? You're going to be deactivated, because both Uber and Lyft have a no-sex policy. It's just how they are, okay? So don't go playing with fire and whatnot. Plus, I mean, people taking Uber and Lyfts, if you got the car and they don't, okay, don't down yourself. Have some standards and stick to them. So those are the 5 big things for new drivers that you guys need to know. And if you missed some of this, just rewatch the video. I'm going to start making these more often because, Jesus, the advice that's out there is just... I don't know why people are using their referral codes and all that good stuff. I don't know why. Because these advice givers aren't giving any damn advice, like strategies and how to know where to drive and how to pinpoint the key money spots. Because there's always money spots. When everybody starts going to, hey, this one over here because this guy recommended it and he lives in my city. No. There's ways to find them. And it's very simple. You can look through some of my older videos, or if you want the widescreen and the better sound and whatnot through this headset, I am more than willing to do so. But if you're a new driver, use the referral codes. Uber will retroactively activate the codes, but that's how you get your bonuses. And don't get me wrong, I wouldn't mind making a little bit of money off that too. I mean, a lot of them will say, put it this way, $15,000 per month is what the rideshare guy was making off of referrals. And then, what was it? The rideshare professor, he's making between $10,000 and $15,000 a month off of all of you guys taking his generic advice and running with it. Okay? I'm going to tell you the top tricks if you're going to be doing this full time, and I'm going to give you some top tricks if you're going to be doing it part time. Okay? I'm going to do my best by you guys. And eventually I'm going to set, I know I've been saying I'm going to set up a Patreon for a while, but I mean, I'm just putting information out there. If people listen to it, cool. But keep in mind, none of these other advice givers, really, truly, don't trust them. Just watch their videos, see if I'm lying. Watch their videos, watch a few of mine, see if I'm lying to you. Okay? They don't drive full time. They all have other careers and whatnot, or they only drive part-time just to maintain their status, but they make their money off of you guys and your referrals. So don't fall into that trap, okay? It's the advice trap. Don't be that person. I want you guys to be safe. God bless, and I will catch you guys later in my little debut.